Good day, YouTube. Nathan back here with another video presentation. And in this here video, what I want to talk to you guys is about two recent incidents where, once again, we have athletes that I don't think they are really taking the rules and adhering by the rules seriously. But before we get into the video, there's some things that need to be said up front. If you are enjoying the content that you're seeing so far, please be sure to consider hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. I'm really liking the support that I have been getting on some of the videos on certain topics that I have touched. I was considering doing a video on Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B's new release called WAP. And WAP, WAP. I'm going to take a bit to think about that as well. The Jonathan Isaac's video still, let's just say it's been interesting trying to record this video for the Jonathan Isaac topic. Because again, I want to make sure that everyone understands where I'm coming from, and I want to make sure everything, like I've said in the previous video, my points are precise and clear for everyone to understand where I'm coming from. I have the MLB The Show 27th inning program started yesterday. I have recorded that video. That video should be uploaded, if not by tonight, tomorrow Sunday, by the latest Monday. Okay? But let's continue the video. So, pretty much as you can see, consider this is a part 3. In the last 2 videos, I have touched on a subject regarding sports. In the last few videos, I have said this is really just not a good time for sports. In that last video, and I'm going to leave both those videos in the description for you guys to see. In the previous, in part 2, I had used the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are Major League Baseball teams, of players not adhering and not taking responsibility because they put not only themselves but others around them in risk. And we were really in a kind of a state of panic because we were unsure what was going to happen with Major League Baseball. Okay? Here you have 2 more situations that I think just really drive the point of what I'm trying to say. The first situation, it involves 2 starting pitchers. Well, excuse me. A starting pitcher and a relief pitcher. Mike Clevenger, who's a starter, Dan Plesac, who's a relief pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, were both put on the restricted list because the 2 of them decided that it was okay to take a night, to take just have a guy's night out, knowing that they weren't supposed to do that, knowing you're doing this in another city, and particularly where we are in a situation where we are seeing cases of COVID rise. And here, we already have a league that, for the most part, let's just be honest, didn't seem interested in wanting to have a bubble system like the NBA, because players were not having it. They weren't feeling the fact that they needed to be away from their families. But here's a question I should have said in part 1 and in part 2. If you felt like a bubble system was not going to work for you, Major League Baseball players, what part are you going to play in ensuring not only your health, but your teammates and coaching staffs around you? What is your plan to that? What is your plan to ensure that you don't see any teammate get sick or coach without a bubble system? You had several members of the St. Louis Cardinals go to a casino. You had players from the Miami Marlins doing different things outside the stadium. Here you have 2 pitchers taking a night on the town when they know they're not supposed to do that. And again, we need to start holding these guys accountable. These are grown men. Okay? And I just don't... Listen, when the season started, I'm sure the general manager, the manager of the team, coaches sat down with these guys and said, listen, y'all must take this serious. You gotta hold these guys accountable. These are grown men. A coach should not have to call you and say, hey, where are you at? Because the coach is going to expect you, Zach Plesac, Mike Clevenger, to be responsible. Terry Francona expects that of you. But no, you decide to do your own thing, break the rules, and do whatever the heck you want to do. And now you could have potentially put not only yourselves at risk, but your teammates and your coaching staff. I just wanted to get that out for the Major League Baseball part. Because, once again, that shows that there's a problem. And, once again, the players, owners, Rob Manfred, all play a part. All this could have been simply avoided had there been an agreement. In the players' union, Tony Clark. This all could have been avoided had you guys agreed to some type of system. Because it would not surprise me if you see another incident like that in Major League Baseball. It would not faze me. Now, NFL. I believe his name is Kemah Siverand. If I mispronounced his name, I apologize. He was recently cut from the Seattle Seahawks. He was an undrafted rookie from Oklahoma State. From what I'm understanding, he tried to disguise a female as a member of the Seahawks coaching staff or whatever into the hotel where they were staying. Was it worth it? Now I know somebody on here is going to say, "Oh my gosh, like what's the big deal?" You guys are just not getting it. This is first and foremost. If you know anything about sports, if you watch, there's a TV show that comes on HBO. It's called Hard Knocks. I really love that show, where you see guys that were undrafted. They are invited to these training camps to earn a roster spot. In Mr. Silverand's position, with numerous players across the league sitting out, had a golden opportunity to make the Seahawks roster, 50-man 3 roster. But obviously, him wanting to clap them cheeks was more important than trying to cash checks. And what's interesting, and again, this is what I'm talking about. When he signed that contract, I'm pretty sure he had a Zoom meeting, Zoom call, wherever. These guys had meetings with these coaches, and these coaches laid the law of the land. Because the NFL, I for the most part, what I'm understanding, I don't want to say their bubble is fully complete, but they want to ensure that there is control, where these players, they're held responsible and they know what to do and what not to do. Okay? Here, Mr. Siverand obviously thought of himself, because now look what you've done. See, here's what Mr. Siverand and others are missing. Here's the point that they're missing. The media doesn't want you guys to play football. They want to see the NFL season fail. They want to see that. Because there are people in the media that know, they're hoping that the NFL does not go successful this year. They already got ammunition with numerous players opting out not to play. And if you have cases of COVID during the season, that is ammunition for days for the media. Just like that. And especially with what's going on around us. Just curious. I wanted to point this out. Really, ever since sports has come back, there are less and less talks about the protests. But because sports is back, everybody wants to make sure they get a piece. Want to hear a voice. It has been disgusting as a sports fan to hear people sit on these networks and talk about sports. How they're happy sports is back. How they have concerns. How there are just some people who don't know sports and want to make sure that their opinion matters. You have some people in the media who, with Mr. Siverand's position that he was in, were advocating for this kind of nonsense. Well, excuse me, foolery. That is a better word to use. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Stephen A. Smith, okay, thought it was practically advocating for stuff like this. But when it comes to weed, when it comes to, well, I'm gonna use the weed for example. He's on these guys like white on rice. But in a situation like this, like everyone was with, like for example, with Lou Williams and Wing and with him getting some wings at a gentleman's club. People brush it off like, well, what's the big deal? No, what the problem is, if this happened during the season, let's just say hypothetically that the woman that he tried to sneak in the hotel had COVID. Could you imagine who could have came in contact with her and would put not only Mr. Siverand and others in a position where they could get COVID? It's a whole different story, isn't it? See, the point I'm trying to make is these athletes need to be smarter and we need to hold them accountable. Listen, I'm not talking for a second, take away the relationships these guys are in, marriage, take that away for a second. The situations that we are in right now, you expect these guys to be mature and responsible. We should hold them to a stand. We should hold them accountable, just like the average normal person. Hell, it's even bad. It's bad enough that we have people out here that don't want to adhere by wearing a mask. Okay, they don't want the social distancing. They want to bump the status quo, break the rules, do whatever they want to do. It's bad enough that we have examples like that. But with sports, with certain, we should hold them accountable. Now, me personally, I don't know if he's going to get another roster spot, because what is the chances that he's going to do the same thing on another team? He cost himself an opportunity to be on the Seahawks roster because the Seahawks obviously saw potential in him. I don't know what else to tell y'all. We gotta start holding these guys accountable. These guys need. It just doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, my question for him, was it worth it? You knew the rules, and when you signed that, the moment you signed that contract, you agreed to the rules. You agreed to that. What you wanted to do, what you wanted to do. Look what it cost you. I also feel like this is necessary to say. If there are guys in his position, athletes, or in his position, if they cannot control their if they can't control their sex drive. Okay, well, you get where I'm going. If they can't control themselves, then maybe you should just consider opting out. Because there are guys who are dying to be on NFL teams, starving for an opportunity. Again, in this case, he thought about himself. Now, how he met this girl, I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. For all I know is he could have met her on social media. Now what? With the Seahawks, I'm glad they went in this direction because it sends players across, not just with the Seahawks, but across the NFL. This is a PSA. If you cannot adhere by the rules, maybe you shouldn't, again, play football. You should just consider just opting out. In Kemah's position, again, like I said, he put himself in this position, and this is a different type of season. This is different. This is not where you can just, after the game, do what you want to do. No, this is a different type of year. This is not just with football. This is with sports across the board. And like I said earlier, this is what the media wants to feed off. They want to see stuff like this fail because they didn't talk about stuff like this during all the protests over the last few months. But as soon as sports started to hit, that's when the media starts. Ooh, we cannot let this happen because we don't want an outbreak to occur. The media was waiting for this. And guys like Kemah and others need to realize that. He should have been smart. But look what it cost him. This is another thing I wanted to point out, and I think that this is serious. Whoever the woman that he brought to the hotel, if she had common sense, and I'm not trying to get on her, but I really want this to be said. If she would have been smart to say, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to put you in a position you in a position where your job could be at risk and you could no. But Kemah should have been smart himself. Because again, he has nobody to blame but himself. In conclusion, he should have been smart to control his lustful temptations. Okay? Because again, he's an undrafted rookie. He's against all odds. He has to fight with other players to make that 53-man roster. And if you're telling me it's okay to break the rules and do whatever you want to do, that's a problem with me. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure Pete Carroll and that coaching staff sat down with not just him, all those players. When you sign that contract, when you agree to something, when you sign that agreement, you're adhering and you're abiding by those rules. Because I'm going to leave y'all with this. He should have been smart thinking long term with trying to build himself financially long term. Instead of worrying about trying to clap some cheeks. I'm leaving it at that. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Like I said, the MLB The Show 7th inning program video will be uploaded soon. The Jonathan Isaac video is still in the process of being recorded. The Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B's new release. I am really thinking about debating if I should do a video on that or not. So, with that being said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please stay safe. I'm out. Peace. Stay up.